I was a priest, but I met the Quran and my life changed. Here is my story.
Australia's Outback was a place of breathtaking beauty and profound solitude, with its reddish soil, endless deserts and sparse vegetation. At 32, I was an astrophysicist working at a small observatory in this remote region. The lack of light pollution made it perfect for studying galaxies, star clusters and dark matter through my telescope. My research on dark matter had earned me some recognition in the scientific community, but the hours I spent peering into the cosmos, unraveling its secrets, couldn't fill the void inside me. I'd been fascinated by stars since I was a kid. Growing up in Melbourne, I'd spend nights exploring the sky with a small telescope my dad gave me. Studying astrophysics in college, I was awestruck by the universe's vastness and complexity, but it also left me grappling with big questions. All these stars, galaxies, why are we here? What's the meaning of life? In the Outback's silence, those questions echoed louder than ever. One evening, while observing a star cluster in the Andromeda galaxy, I noticed a fire glowing a few hundred yards from my camp. Curious, I set my telescope aside and walked toward it. By the fire, a family was gathered around a tent. The elder, a grey-bearded man with a warm smile named Hassan, spotted me and invited me to join them. Hassan was a Bedouin from Saudi Arabia, here with his family for a cultural exchange program on desert ecology. I wondered what Bedouins were doing in the Outback, but Hassan's genuine kindness put me at ease. As we sat around the fire, Hassan shared stories of Bedouin culture and their deep connection to the stars. For us Bedouins, stars aren't just lights in the sky, he said. They're signs from God, each one revealing his order and power. My scientific mind pushed back. But stars are massive gas bodies shaped by physical laws. How can they be spiritual signs? I asked. Hassan smiled. Science and faith aren't opposites. They complement each other. The Quran describes the universe's creation in ways that modern science is only now catching up to. His words struck a chord. Can you explain more? I pressed. He recited a verse from the Quran. We built the heavens, and indeed we are expanding it. My jaw dropped. That's describing the universe's expansion! Edwin Hubble didn't discover that until 1929. Hassan nodded. The Quran holds many scientific truths. Take this verse about the universe's beginning. Do they not see that we separated the heavens and the earth when they were joined and made every living thing from water? That aligned with the Big Bang Theory. I couldn't wrap my head around how this knowledge existed 400 years ago. Hassan mentioned another verse about mountains. We placed firm mountains on the earth lest it shake with you. Modern geology confirms mountains stabilize the earth's crust. I was blown away by the scientific accuracy of these verses. Hassan's 12-year-old granddaughter Aisha chimed in. Grandpa says the stars tell stories, she said. What do you do with the stars? I explained how I studied galaxies and dark matter with my telescope. Her eyes lit up. Dark matter? Is that one of God's secrets? I smiled, but her question lingered in my mind. That night, I couldn't sleep. Hassan's words and Aisha's questions swirled in my head. Back at my camp, I downloaded an English translation of the Quran and started reading. Each verse seemed to bridge my scientific curiosity and spiritual longing. One verse hit me hard. Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth and the alternation of night and day, there are signs for those who reflect. I was stunned by verses describing the water cycle, embryology, and the orbits of stars. For example, do you not see that God sends down rain from the sky, channeling it into springs in the earth, then produces crops of various colours? That was a perfect depiction of the water cycle, aligned with modern science. How could this knowledge exist in the 7th century? My scientific mind found the Quran's encouragement of inquiry deeply resonant. A few days later, I visited Hassan's family again. This time I showed Aisha my telescope and let her see Jupiter's moons. She gasped, "How did God make all this?" I didn't know how to answer, but that moment solidified my resolve to dive deeper into Islam. As I read the Quran, I grew curious about Islam's historical ties to science. I gathered books and online articles about the Islamic Golden Age, 8th to 13th centuries. Learning about Muslim scholars' contributions to astronomy blew my mind. Ibn Yunus, in the 10th century, refined Ptolemy's precession calculations from 1 Gregorius per 100 years to 1 Gregorius per 70 years. Ibn al-Shatir, in the 14th century, developed planetary motion theories that influenced Copernicus. Nasir al-Din al-Tusi's Tusi-couple theory explained planetary movements, laying groundwork for Copernicus's heliocentric model. Abd al-Rahman al-Sufi, in 964, documented the Andromeda Galaxy and Large Magellanic Cloud in his Book of Fixed Stars. Ibn al-Haytham pioneered optics and the scientific method. Mariam al-Astrolabi, a 10th century female scientist, perfected the astrolabe. An asteroid was named after her in 1990. Reading about the first observatory in 8th century Baghdad and the advanced Maraga Observatory, I felt a connection to my own telescope observations. The spherical trigonometry and algebra developed by Muslim scholars were directly tied to the math I used in dark matter calculations. These discoveries deepened my respect for Islam and showed me that science and faith could coexist. I attended a science history conference in Sydney where a historian discussed Islamic astronomy's impact on the European Renaissance. Ibn al-Shatir's models were used by Copernicus, and the Tusi couple shaped modern astronomy. I jotted down notes, struck by the depth of Islam's scientific legacy. Exploring Islam wasn't just an intellectual journey, it was emotional and social too. My family in Melbourne, with their atheist worldview, was worried about my interest in religion. During a phone call, Mum asked, "You're so immersed in science. How can you believe in religion?" I patiently explained, "The Quran encourages questioning. It doesn't contradict science. It complements it." Their doubts tested my resolve. At work, I faced similar reactions. My colleague, Dr. Emma, said over coffee, "Religion limits scientific thinking. Why do you need it?" I told her how Islam historically advanced science, citing Ibn al-Haytham's work on the scientific method. Emma wasn't convinced, but she respected my passion. During this time, I started visiting a local mosque. There I met Dr. Fatima, a Muslim biologist who shared how she blended science and faith. "The Quran urges us to understand the universe," she said. "Every experiment feels like uncovering God's creation." Her words made me feel less alone. Over 6 months, I read the Quran, researched Islamic science, and connected with the mosque community. Islam's universal message resonated with my scientific curiosity. One Friday, in a small mosque, I stood before the congregation and declared my faith. "I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger." In that moment, I felt the void inside me fill. Tears welled up as I realized the stars weren't just scientific objects. They were signs of God's creation. The mosque community welcomed me warmly. Aisha hugged me, saying, "You're one of our stars now." That love and acceptance felt like a new beginning. After becoming Muslim, I returned to my Outback observatory. The hours at my telescope were no longer just scientific tasks. They were a spiritual journey. Studying dark matter, I saw the universe's mysteries as God's secrets. One night, observing the Orion Nebula, I recalled a Quranic verse: "He is the light of the heavens and the earth." It made me see stars as both physical and spiritual light. My scientific work became a way to understand God's creation. As I learned more about Islam, I wove its practices into my life. I learned to pray, fasted during Ramadan, and took lessons to read the Quran in Arabic. These practices felt in sync with my disciplined scientific mind. A year later, I gave a talk at an astronomy conference titled "Science and Faith: Signs in the Universe." I shared the Quran's scientific verses and the Islamic Golden Age's contributions to astronomy, mentioning Ibn Yunus, Ibn al-Shatir, and Maryam al-Asturlabi. Some listeners were amazed, others skeptical, but my sincerity resonated with many. After the talk, a young student approached me. "I want to combine science and faith too. Where do I start?" I smiled and said, "With curiosity and an open heart, the universe will guide you." That moment showed me my journey was inspiring others. I started teaching Aisha astronomy. As she learned to observe stars through the telescope, she taught me about Islam's beauty. This mutual learning strengthened my contribution to the community. Over time, my family began to understand my choice. During a visit, Mom said, "Seeing you so at peace makes me happy." I read them Quranic verses and explained Islam's harmony with science. Dad smiled and said, "Maybe those stars are speaking to us all." Their acceptance eased my last lingering unease.